Hello everyone, welcome back to part 4 of our acetate window mini album. So today we're going to work on page 5 and page 6. So we are going to be doing this page. So it has the pocket here with the flap that comes out, and then another flap that comes out, and then we're also going to be working on the next page, so page 6, and it has the pocket here, and then this flap comes up and this flap comes down, and then this goes in to close this up, this insert, and then the whole thing flips up. Okay, so before I start, I do want to mention there is a complete cutting guide for this project, and I'm going to link it down below to my Etsy shop for you guys to grab. So it has your pattern paper sizes and your insert sizes, your layers, your photo mats, everything, okay? And I'll put that link below to that, all right? So, and I'll also link part 1, 2, and 3 below this video, so you can go back and get started on those if you haven't done them yet. So page 5 and page 6 have a pocket with the envelope punch board details. So I thought we'll just do those first and then lay the pockets aside so we can just get them done at the same time. So for page 5, the pocket measures 4.5 by 8 3/4, and then on the 8 3/4 side you're going to score it 1/2 inch and 8 1/4, or you can score it 1/2 inch on both sides, okay? And then on the 4.5 inch side you're just going to score at 1/2 inch. And then what we're going to do is from the score line in 2 inches and from the score line in 2 inches on this side, we are just going to punch. So basically what I do is I line my score up with 2, okay? So line your score mark up with 2 and then flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Line your score up with 2 and punch, okay? And then the pattern paper layer for this pocket measures 3 3/4 by 7.5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up at 1 3/4 and punch. And then I'm going to flip it over and line it up at 1 3/4 and punch. All right, so that is this one punched. So let's do the other pocket, then we'll cut out our centers. So then we're going to do the pocket that's going to go for page 5, this smaller one down here. So for that, you need a piece of your heavy black cardstock that measures 3 by 7 1/4. And on the 7 1/4 side, you're just going to score it 1/2 inch and 6 3/4, or just 1/2 inch on both sides. And then on the 3 inch side, you're just going to score it 1/2 inch, okay? And we are again just going to line our score mark up at 2. So our score mark, will line it up at 2 and punch. And the same thing for the other side and punch. All right, and then for the pattern paper, it's going to measure 2 1/4 by 6. And again, I'm going to line it up at 1 3/4. And this is on the 6 inch side. And then flip it and line it up at 1 3/4, okay? So now we can put that aside, and you can either cut this out with a craft knife or with your cutter or whatever you choose. But basically all we're gonna do is cut these center tabs out, okay? Paper trimmer aside, and then we can go ahead and glue these on and create the pockets. So just grab whatever glue you're using. I like to use the Beacon or the Fabri-Tac for gluing on my thinner pattern paper layers. So just get that glue all over the back of that. And I'm just gonna attach it, leaving an even black border all the way around. Just like that, and then we can cut across our corners. So remember, we just cut right below where our two score lines intersect, right here. And right there. Then we can go ahead and fold and burnish these just so that they're ready when we are ready to attach them. So just fold and burnish the score lines. All right, and that is our cute little pocket. So same thing for the other one. Let's glue ahead and glue it on first. Just like so. And just get it nice and centered in there. Just take your time and make sure your layer looks nice and even. All right, and then again, we can go ahead and just cut right below where those score lines intersect. And then fold and burnish. Those score lines. All right, so that is these two pockets all created. All right, so now let's get started with page 5. So page 5 is one of our base pages we need first. So it measures 8 1/4 by 7 3/4, and then on the 8 1/4 side, you're just gonna score at half and at 1. And I'm just gonna go ahead and only burnish over my 1-inch score mark, okay? That way we can work nice and flat, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to attach a flap going across, going like up and down on the 7 3/4 side, and it's gonna get attached right along that 1-inch score mark, okay? So it's gonna go right here. So this piece is our heavy black cardstock, and it measures 7 3/4 by 5 1/2. And on the 5 1/2 inch side, you're just gonna score it 1/2 inch. And we can go ahead and fold and burnish this. And then we can just miter our corners. So remember, when we miter, we just cut from the score line out at an angle. We don't cut into the score line, so just from the score line out. So this flap is gonna go right here, but this flap is where our pocket, our larger pocket that we just created, is gonna go. So I'm gonna put it on here first before I attach the flap. So let's go ahead, get my flap nice and flat. All right, and then I'm going to burnish my pocket again from the top, just like this. Then I'm gonna add glue just to the large bottom flap here for now, just like so. And then I'm going to attach it right along my score line here. So place it on. It should be the exact same width as our flap. And make sure it doesn't go over on the back. And that it's nice and aligned with the edge. All right, and then you can open it up and burnish that. All right, and then we'll just add glue to this section here. these 2 side flaps and bring those up. And then you can burnish just like so. All right, so now we can go ahead and add this flap to our main base page. So I'm just gonna put my glue on my flap and just attach it right along that score line, okay? Make sure not to go over it. Just attach it right along the score line. So again, it should be the exact same width. All right, so now we can burnish that down, just like so. All right, so that is that flap with the pocket attached. So now this side is going to have another flap, and it measures 6 by 7.5, and on the 6-inch side, you're just gonna score it 1/2 inch. And then we can fold and burnish this. And again, just miter our corners. All right, and that is just gonna get attached right in here. The whole flap is 1/4 inch shorter than your page. So center it so there's about 1/8 of an inch of space, top and bottom. Just like so. So put it right along the edge and make sure there's about 1/8 of an inch of space on the top and the bottom. And then we can go ahead and burnish that. So before I do anything else on this page, I want to put the magnet on for the closure. So I'm going to grab my magnets here. And I just need 2. Get them apart. All right, and then I'm gonna grab my 3/8 score tape. It can be really anything you want. And I'm gonna put one of my magnets about right there on my flap with the pocket on it, the back of it, and put tape on it like this. And then I will grab another piece of tape and put it upside down on that piece. So the sticky side is up, and I'm just gonna let that one catch and bring it over and then rub it so that that tape takes on this side, okay? So that's our magnetic closure. So the insert for this page, that's gonna go in this pocket right here. So it can go like this, or it can go like this, either way that you want it. The insert measures 4 5/8 by 7 1/4. And the insert layers, and then for the insert layers, you're gonna need a piece of your lightweight white cardstock. That's 3 3/8 by 7. And then you're gonna need a piece of your pattern paper that's 1 by 7. And before I attach my pattern paper, I'm just gonna do a little like tag angle cut on both sides of it, just about that much. And then I'm going to attach it and try to center it along my longer side of my insert. So I'm just gonna grab my glue. Add my glue to my piece, just like so, and put it right here, leaving an even black border, this side, and across the top. Just like so. Now I'm gonna let that dry for a second while I attach my white piece. So I'm gonna try to leave a little bit of a black space in between here. Remember, this one is 3 3/8 by 7 of your lightweight white cardstock. And all of this information is in the cutting guide for you guys. All right. Right there. And then we will just trim along this tag like this. And like that. And that is going to go in this pocket. So like I said, you can either have it like this or you can have it like this. All right, so now I'm just going to glue on my layers for this page. So for right here inside the pockets, you need a piece of pattern paper that measures 2 by 7.5 because you don't need it to go all the way down. And then on the back of this flap with the pocket, you need a piece of pattern paper, a piece of white cardstock that's 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and it's just going to go right here. And then you will need a pattern paper piece that's 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, and that's going to go across here. And then on this flap on the other side here, you need a piece that's 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 of your white cardstock, and the same thing for the inside, the same size, 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. And then for the back, middle back here, you need a piece that's 7 1/2 by 7. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue all of that on. That finishes off page 5. So we have our pocket here, and the insert can go either like this, which is cute, or it can go like this. It does fit inside the page either way. And then this pocket opens up, and this flap, and you have space for a nice large photo, and then you have space for a large photo here, or you could just do some collaging. And then you have a space for a 5 by 7 photo and another 5 by 7 photo there. And then, yeah, your insert will just go back in. So now let's work on the back side of this page, which is page 6. All right, so for the back of page 5, there's page 6. So the page has a large flap on it. So we're going to work on that flap first and then attach it to the base page. So the flap measures 8 1/4 by 6 1/4, and on the 8 1/4 side, you're just going to score it 1/2 inch. And then we can go ahead and fold and burnish this, and then miter our corners. So remember, we just cut from the score line out. We don't ever cut into our score line. All right, and then there's going to be 2 flaps that come in from the top and bottom that measure 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, and on the 4 3/4 side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch for both of them. And again, this is the heavy black cardstock. So in one of these, we are going to attach our pocket, okay, that we created, this pocket here. So you're going to want to attach it so that the score line here is at the bottom. So let's go ahead and fold the score line and burnish it, and then we will cut our corners. Just like so. And then our pocket is going to go across the bottom here on the side that has the flap, okay? So it's just gonna go right here. So I'm gonna burnish from the top first. Make sure my pocket is really nice and flat. And then I'm just gonna put glue just on my bottom flap here. And make sure you're not going past your score line here. So you can pick it up and adjust it how you need. And then burnish that down, and then we can open it as well and burnish it. And then add your glue, just like this, and bring it down and burnish that. All right, so we'll let that dry for a second, and we'll work on the flap that's gonna come in from the top. So it's the same size. So 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and on the 4 3/4 side, you're just gonna score 1/2 inch. And we can go ahead and burnish that and cut across our corners. And then we will attach it along the top of our larger flap, and we're gonna attach it along that score line, okay? So along our hinge up here. Just add your glue and attach it right along that score line, like just a hair underneath it, and make sure it lines up side to side. It should go all the way to the top and align side to side. All right, so now our pocket one is gonna go down here. So add your tape, or sorry, your glue, and just align it all the way to the bottom and all the way to both sides, just like this. All right, so now we will grab our base page back in. All right, so this whole flap, this large flap, is gonna get attached all the way to the outer edge of our main base page. So you're gonna wanna make sure your hinges are on this side. All right, and we're just gonna add our glue here and just attach it all the way to the outside edge, and it should fit all the way top and bottom. So you can always turn it over and make sure you're not going over anywhere. And then burnish it before we open it up. Just like so. All right, so now let's create the insert that's going to keep all of this closed. So for that, you are going to need a piece of your heavy black cardstock that is 11 by 6 3/4, and put it right across the top here, making sure you leave a nice even black border. And then we have a piece of our white cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's gonna go right here. So let's attach that while that's drying. So just like this. And you use kind of like a slower drying glue, then you can kind of attach it so you have that nice black border. Like if you can still move that a little bit. All right, and then we're just gonna snip across here, and we are snipping both, like we're snipping through both layers, okay? So it creates the whole thing for you. All right, and then this whole insert is gonna go in here to keep all of this closed in nicely. All right, so now let's get all of our pattern paper and white cardstock on. So for this little flap here, the plain basically 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 flap, you're gonna have a piece that measures 4 by 6, and I just chose to use one of the cut aparts for that. And then for down inside the pocket here, you're gonna have a piece that measures 6 by 2, and it's just gonna get glued right in here. And then inside here, you are going to have a piece that's 6 by 7.5. And I'm choosing to leave these flaps just blank for photos. All right, and then underneath our flap here, you're gonna have a piece again that is just 6 by 7.5 at the top here. And then down here, you're gonna have a white cardstock piece that's 4.25 by 6.25, and it's just gonna get centered right here on this side. And then you're gonna have a little strip down here that's 4.25 by 1/8, right below that. And then over here, you're gonna have a piece of pattern paper that's 7.5 by 2 5/8. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and glue all of that on. I've gone ahead and glued all of my little layers on. So we have our insert here that opens up, and you can put nice large photos. And then this piece opens to the top, and this piece opens to the bottom. And then our insert just goes in to keep that all closed. And then it flips up, and you have space for a nice large photo, a 4 by 6 photo, and then just some of that beautiful pattern paper there. So there is page 5 and 6. So I hope you guys enjoyed these pages. So I'll just bring back in what we've already done. So this is page 5 and 6. This is page 3 and 4. So page 3 and page 4. And then we have done our page 2 and page 1 already as well, okay? So we're trucking along. And then we did also create the whole acetate album cover where it's all gonna go inside of. So I am gonna put links to all of these parts below so that if you haven't done them yet, you can go and do them. And then I will also have the link to the cutting guide on my Etsy shop so you can just get it all cut and be ready to go. All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm really loving it. I absolutely love the softness and prettiness of these papers, so I think it's looking really cute. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.